Greetings to all of you students who are joining us for this lesson. In this session, we shall be taking a look at the text-based approach to language teaching, specifically in the context of English as a first additional language. Remember that this is aimed at practicing teachers in the intermediate phase, in other words, grades 4, 5, and 6, which means that as a general guideline, their ages will range from 10 up to 13 years of age. Now, the text-based approach is a component of the communicative language teaching approach. So its main focus is obviously on communicative competence, which is just a fancy way of saying that people must be able to understand you when you use English. So what exactly is this text-based approach? Well, essentially, it means that you as the teacher select an authentic, real-life text to use as the basis for an English lesson. And to be quite honest, I think that this is actually quite a good idea. When I was teaching at intermediate level, I came up with the logical concept of using texts from other subjects as the basis for teaching English, 2 for the price of 1, so to speak, and it worked very well as a method of covering the syllabus more quickly. Times have changed, of course. The fact that you are watching this online means that you have access to at least some modern media and are most likely going to either download all your English lessons or simply use the approved textbook, most of which are very good, by the way. But I am aware also that some of you are teaching under conditions that are not ideal, and this is when the text-based approach becomes really useful. One of my biggest pleasures every year is doing the assessment of practical teaching, since many of the teachers presenting the lessons are from seriously under-resourced schools, and that is when the truly great teachers tend to emerge. I once saw a teacher from Lesotho who took the labels off some common tin cans to issue them as texts for an English lesson, and it was outstandingly successful, simple, effective, and it cost almost nothing. I should point out here that the texts in question do not necessarily have to be written. Audio texts can be very useful, and so are videos, particularly for the new techno generation. So here is your chance to introduce the F factor, fun. Use texts which are really relevant to your scholars, or which will give them a good laugh. There are few things that will produce a more memorable lesson than humor. Now, the text-based approach specifies that whatever text you use has to be authentic, as we said earlier. Take this with a pinch of salt. If you have found a good written text to use, but it is not 100% suitable for the specific task that you have in mind, simply adapt it. Make whatever changes you think are necessary to improve it. Never hesitate to do what works for you in the classroom. And at this point, I must encourage you to study Appendix D, which is chock-a-block with good practical suggestions on how to use the text-based approach to create great lessons. It is so well written that it even points out the negative aspects of this approach. Let me leave you with a final thought. The reason that you are doing this course, hopefully, is to improve your unique range of skills as a teacher. Critically examine all of these approaches and methods to see what you find useful or what is impractical. Go mad. Stretch your imagination.